It's Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
Top Hit Tuesday on ZiFM Sport is more than the music. It's really about the top stories coming out of the world of sport, local as well as international, all brought to you by a top team of pundits. That team is Barry Manandi, Christine Midzi, and a former Warriors, Caps United and Sundowns great Alois Munjira, who's part of our team here at ZiFM Sport, your favorite sports show. Our producer, the man who's making us all tick behind the scenes, Sean Tafirinika, and I am Mike Madoda. And being a Tuesday today, we have our staple, the Formula One Report, proudly brought to you by Zimoko. And in the news, McLaren team principal Andrea Seidel says Formula One doesn't need to mix up the spectacle with invitational races or gimmicks just because Mercedes is dominant. It'll be interesting to hear the thoughts of the team. But the big story today is on the home front with the news that Warriors coach Zdravko Logarosic is faced with another headache as in-form striker Prince Dube has been ruled out of their friendly match against Malawi on Sunday. Big blow after big blow for Zifa. Will we even get a sniff? Will we even play football? Can we even get a squad together? Those are the questions that will be answered by your team today.
In Around the World in 60, we start in France, where Petra Kvitova established herself as a leading contender for the French Open title after defeating China's Zhang Shui to reach the quarterfinals in Dubai. Kagiso Rabada, KG, took 4 for 24 as Delhi Capitals moved to top of the IPL table with a 59-run thrashing of Royal Challengers Bangalore. And in the United States, Miami Heat forward Bam Adebayo could be back in the lineup for Game 4 of the NBA Finals.
Don't forget, in the middle of the show, we have our play of the day. And after that, the beautiful game will wrap up transfer deadline day, where Arsenal signed Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid after meeting his £45 million release clause. In Ligue 1, Paris Saint-Germain sporting director Leonardo has hit out at manager Thomas Tuchel, saying he did not appreciate his recent sentiments, urging club management to make signings. In news from La Liga, Didier Deschamps has claimed that Antoine Griezmann has already been left unsettled playing under Ronald Koeman at Barcelona, being forced out wide in the attack. And we'll end off with some news out of Serie A. Stefano Pioli is glad to be at the top of the table with AC Milan, but warns he's well aware of the problems they will encounter going forward.
First up always is our power play. It's Top Hit Tuesday, so here's Halsey. It's called I'm Not Mad.
The Warriors, the Chevrons, the Cheetahs, the Mighty Warriors, and the Sables. From the pool to the track to the field, we are Team Zimbabwe. The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
Right, let's keep it interactive right here on your favorite sports show at ZiFM Sport. That's the handle to follow and interact with on Twitter. Alternatively, search for us by name in our individual capacities. We'll be only too glad to chat with you if it's anything out of the world of sport. Now, the news out of the home front, as usual, if it's a football story of late, very concerning. Warriors coach Zdravko Logarosic is faced with another headache as in-form striker Prince Dube has been ruled out of their friendly match against Malawi on Sunday. Reports coming through from Tanzania say that the Azam player who's become a regular in the Warriors squad has got a hamstring injury. But before we get to hear the thoughts of the team in studio, let's first of all hear from the voice of the South, crack football pundit based in Bulawayo, Muziwetu Hadebe.
With a new coach who really doesn't know much in terms of our players, as well as playing under COVID-19 conditions, it was always going to be important to have a player like Prince Dube in your team setup. He has been in action, unlike most of our players, especially the local best players. He has not only just been in action, but he has been in top form, scoring regularly for his team Azam in Tanzania. He is currently on 3 goals, I think, and a couple of assists as well, which is a good thing on his part. So that was going to come in handy. The hope was that he was going to transform his form at club level onto the national team. And going into the future, one gets the feeling that maybe as a country we should always have a plan B. We should fully utilize our CHAN squad and use it as a reserve team for any challenges that we might face. We should also try and ensure that our under-23 squad is quite solid so that we can call upon those players.
All this, Barry, in spite of me watching Prince Dube this past weekend have a barnstorming 90 minutes in which he scored, laid on another goal, man of the match performance. Here we are, and they tell us that he's got a hamstring injury and he needs to see the doctor.
Yeah, it's obvious what's going on there. He's not coming for this game. They realize how important he is to Azam. He's started off like a house on fire. He's blowing out the lights, he's pulling up trees, he's doing everything at Azam, so they don't want to lose him, and especially to possibly a national team injury. So they'd rather keep him, wrap him in cotton wool and wait for the next assignment. I don't think he's got a hamstring injury. He doesn't even have a tweak.
Alois, the concerning thing is that it's not just Prince Dube who is on fire at the moment. Barry just said, listen, he's integral to Azam as they fight it out at the top of the Tanzanian league with Simba as well as young Africans. But it looks like we are set to miss out on Tino Ndakadewere as well, because we had been really hoping that Tino, now with his move to Olympique Lyon, one of the bigger clubs in France, would be able to come and lead the line and be able to give a bit of bite to the Warriors' attack straight through the middle. Now there's no opportunity for Logarisic to test him out, to try him out before those back-to-back qualifiers versus Algeria.
Yeah, Mike, I would be surprised if we actually raise a team to actually go and play out that friendly match against Malawi. I don't see a lot of those foreign-based players coming. You know, if Prince Dube is not coming, imagine Tino Kadewere, imagine the rest of the players. We remember Makoni Boni has already ruled himself out as well from this tie. He said he's not coming. So all the players are turning the overtime. I put it down to lack of planning ahead. You know, all these things we're supposed to have done maybe a month ago, to send letters, to assure players that they will be safe, to tell the clubs of the foreign-based players that they are going to be safe. But I don't think that was done. We still don't even have a national team manager. So he has been following up on these players and actually talking to them, assuring them that they're going to be safe. Probably no one has told Azam that Prince Dube is going to be safe. What do? You have to fake the injury and say you're not coming. Like you say, he played over the weekend, he is fit and strong, man of the match performance, but he's saying he's got a hamstring injury. There's no hamstring injury there. He's just a player that doesn't want to come, or his team doesn't want him to come, for safety reasons, obviously, because of this COVID issue.
Now, Chris, I just want us to build on the point that Alois alluded to just now when he talked about the fact that there's a vacancy in the Warriors' technical office, because we do not have a substantive Warriors manager at the moment. And Alois is right to ask the questions that with Logarisic having been on holiday, who has been keeping tabs on the players? Who has been monitoring health and performance?
Definitely, it's a problem that there's a very big gap there, because if we had first of all, been a lot more organized. If we had had a team manager, we would have had an opportunity, first of all, been tracking our players. Second of all, to be communicating with all of these clubs where our players are. And we would have been able, at the very least, to get a few of our players to come and actually participate in this. That reassurance that the players are going to be safe, that's part of the job of the team manager. And unfortunately, we don't have one, which I think also points to larger problems that are apparent in terms of our mother body, because you have an entire national team without a team manager. And so therefore, that leaves a very big gap in terms of administration. That role exists to plug holes such as this, where we would no longer have issues around where our players are, who's in communication with our players, in what state are they ready to play. And at the moment, it doesn't look like we're going to have a team. Local players not playing, international players unable to come, and all of this administratively would have been taken care of by a team manager.
And the bigger headache, Barry, that ZiFA could be having at the moment. I mean, this is Tuesday the 5th, the 6th. The match is set to be played on Sunday, the 11th, and yet government hasn't given the green light for this match to proceed for the Warriors to travel to Malawi.
That's the pick also. That's on ZiFA as well, because I think that in truth, I don't think the government would have any problem with the team traveling out to Malawi. The airspace has been opened, international travel is open, and so there's no reason why the team cannot travel as long as they meet up with the regulations. In other words, get their COVID tests before they leave, get their COVID tests when they touch down. It's just the way of the world. So for me, I think that ZiFA either applied late or there is something deeper going on. And also, I think this might be a cop-out for ZiFA, because I suspect we might be told that the friendly is off, and largely because ZiFA hasn't been given the go-ahead by government, and blame it on government.
And Alois, this situation here makes the job doubly difficult for Logarisic, isn't it? Zdravko Logarisic, he's new to Zimbabwean football. Yes, he was appointed several months ago, but he's new because he's never actually had an opportunity to assemble the Warriors. He's never had the opportunity to make a call-up to train the Warriors, to get with them into a match situation. And now he is faced with all this confusion, all this uncertainty off the field of play.
Yeah, it's something that we can safely say, welcome to Zimbabwe, Mr. Logarisic. This is how we do things here. This is how things are done. He gets his first experience of how things are done in Zimbabwe, and unfortunately, it's ahead of a very crucial match. It starts with a friendly now, a friendly that I know that he was like optimistic about, so that he can actually have a look at some of the players, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And he can see from the backside, he can actually see that this is what is happening. He can actually foresee already that this might not happen, this match might not happen. So he would have to make plan B, a plan B that might not even happen as well. So I feel sorry for Logarisic, and at the same time I feel embarrassed being a Zimbabwean as well, because we are in this kind of situation whereby we could have avoided this if we planned ahead, like I said, if we were serious. Unfortunately, we are just not serious footballing people. We are not serious sporting people. We don't plan, we don't take care of sport, we don't take sport seriously, and this is where we are right now. We never took this match against Malawi seriously in the first place. It's actually disrespect to Malawi, who are looking forward to sharpening their team against Zimbabwe. And we are disrespecting this match, disrespecting Malawi, because at the end of the day, it's going to be a no-show.
And Chris, I mean, I'm sure if you had listened to any sports show in Zimbabwe or read any media article from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it would be the same story, isn't it? A story of disorganization, a story of uncertainty, a story of chaos at 53 Livingston Avenue. That's what's characterized Zimbabwe football at the very top for over 3 decades now. And it's like Alois said, we laughed, but that is the story of Zimbabwe football. Welcome to Zimbabwe, Loga.
Welcome to Zimbabwe, and it's just unfortunate that What happens is the rot started 30 years ago, and I think at the moment we're bearing the brunt of decisions made 30 years ago. So decisions being made now, organizations not learning, we have no institutional memory, nothing is happening in terms of evolution. We're going to be facing, possibly, if we don't course correct right now, we're going to be facing the same issues 30 years from now, and that's 3 more generations of people, or in fact 2 more generations of football players who have their careers stunted by organizations that don't get their act together.
Well, would love to hear from you, your thoughts on this situation. It's a developing story with Zimbabwe football. Can we get a squad together? Do we have the players, the clubs? Will they release their players if they're playing abroad already? Prince Dube will not come. Tinotenda Kadewere will not come. Macaulay Bone will not come. Who else is not coming, and who will Logarisic be able to get? Will the match be even played? At ZiFM Sport. That's the handle to follow and interact with.
Hi, I'm Warriors coach Zdravko Logarušić, and you are listening to ZiFM Sport.
Sports with a difference.
Z.
All right, let's give you a local sports news roundup. Starting with cricket, fast bowler Blessing Muzarabani is still engaged in negotiations with Zimbabwe Cricket in his quest for a return to the international game. Muzarabani, who had put his international cricket career on hold to pursue county cricket in England with Northamptonshire, has expressed desire to represent Zimbabwe again. The 24-year-old was included in the Takashinga squad for the National Premier League, which began at the weekend. The late inclusion ignited speculation. The lanky cricketer has been given the green light to resume his international cricket career and was in line for selection for the upcoming tour of Pakistan. On to netball news. The Rainbow Amateur Netball League are engaging their sponsors and stakeholders to discuss the huge costs of playing the game under a bio-bubble environment. There was general consensus that action has to be shelved this year after they conducted a cost-benefit analysis which showed it was better to forego the season. The RANL Secretary General Moses Gukurume said although their sponsors Glow Petroleum will have the final say, the situation on the ground was not looking good. Wrap it up with Castle Premier Soccer League news. Mini League set to provide a test case for a proposed return of domestic football activities could cost about $1.1 million. ZiFA are confident they will get the green light for domestic football to return this week after meeting government officials last Friday. Youth Sport, Arts and Recreation Minister Kirsty Coventry has also been pushing for a safe return of football.
Hi, this is Mike Madoda, and you can catch me and the team for all the latest breaking news out of the world of sport, local as well as international, on your favorite station, my station, your station, ZiFM. We are Z-Team on ZiFM Sport.
Z. International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play. From sunny Melbourne to the streets of Monaco, the deserts of Bahrain to the jungles of Brazil, get up to speed on the Formula One Report. The Formula One Report is proudly brought to you by Zimoco, the home of F1 brands Mercedes-Benz and Alfa Romeo in Zimbabwe. Zimoco, specialized service for special brands.
Being a Tuesday, our Formula One is proudly brought to you by Zimoco Now. The Zimoco Body Repair Center at our workshop in Southerton is one of the most important departments capable of getting even the worst accident-damaged vehicle back on the road. Our Body Repair Center is well known and respected for our world-class accident-damage repairs on our specialized brands such as Mercedes-Benz, Jeep, Fiat, Mitsubishi, and Havao, where our work is carried out to the highest standard using genuine replacement parts and body panels, as well as computerized color matching systems.
We'd also like to advise our customers we are also open to all vehicle brands and models. Zimoco is there to fix your car regardless of the brand that you drive. Our quotation turnaround time for straightforward repairs is instant, and our quotation time on huge complex repairs takes about 24 hours, and our parts procurement for these vehicles is excellent. We have a dedicated, qualified, skilled and highly experienced team of technicians who will get your vehicle back to pre-accident condition in no time. And having experienced this particular service, Barry, I can give them the double thumbs up, because took my car in the morning, received my call by about 2 in the afternoon, told me, hey, the car was ready, went to look at it, and my front grille, the bumper, looked brand spanking new. In fact, my car looked better than before.
That's always a ringing endorsement for the Zimoko Body Repair Center. So you need to try it for yourself. Stay tuned for more.
Z.
All right, let's dive into our weekly look into Formula One, or at least our deep dive into Formula One. Now, McLaren team principal Andreas Seidl says Formula One doesn't need to mix up the spectacle with invitational races or gimmicks. Just because Mercedes is dominant with Formula One owners, Liberty Media, actively pushing for trials of reverse grid qualifying races next year, some teams have also talked about the idea of shaking up the calendar with invitational races in the future too. Seidl says there is no need for Formula One to try anything radical because the only factor that is hurting the spectacle at the moment is that Mercedes is just too good. Chris, it's a point. Mercedes is good, and Liberty Media is seeing the drop in viewers and wants to do something about it. Your thoughts on this move?
I can understand Liberty Media's perspective because what you want is competition. You want every single race, you want eyes on your race. You want that viewership. But at the moment, what we have is a scenario where you can pretty much bet that Mercedes, both Mercedes are going to have podium finishes. And every single time you have a situation where there is no competition, there's no thrill, there's no reason for me to actually watch the race, you're going to have those drop-offs. And I think Liberty Media is, trying to get a lot more viewership, but Mercedes is dominant because, first of all, they've designed a very superior car and their drivers are brilliant. So for Mercedes side, look, it wouldn't be fair to have things like reverse grid starts, but for Liberty Media, they definitely need the competition.
You know what, Barry? You know where it hits you as a fan, even with qualifying. In fact, let's go before qualifying to practice races. You know, when they're doing the practices, already you can tell how it's going to develop, how qualifying is going to go, that Mercedes is likely to finish 1 and 2 and be first up on the grid, which heavily influences the way that the race is going to develop. So there is that aspect to it. But Barry, I want to rewind to when they made the changes that resulted in the malarkey we have in Formula One. The decision to go to the hybrid engines that we have now, where Mercedes, because it's their core business, Renault, because it's their core business, have been making cars of this nature for scores and scores of years, definitely had a leg up on the competition, as opposed to Ferrari, who specialized in what? The supercars, the fast cars, and were learning how to manufacture new types of engines to fit the new rules for Formula One. That's where they got it wrong. They needed to have thought it through properly to have had a gradual introduction, or should I say a gradual toning down of the fast supercar and all its emissions to this hybrid engine, which now favors the traditional car manufacturers like Mercedes and Renault.
Mike, is that you wanting us to go back to the V12s and the V8?
Absolutely. That's when McLaren was in the game. That's when Aston Martin was in the game. That's when Ferrari was in the game. That's when qualifying was interesting. That's when guys could win the race, even if he was 5th on the grid. That's why you had drivers like Ayrton Senna, who, even if he was 10th on the grid, would storm his way through the race because they just raced. And usually it was the skill of the car more than the skill of the driver, more than the attributes of the car that won you the race.
All the environmentalists who are listening to the show have switched off their radios. They'll join us when we get
emissions.
They'll rejoin when we get to the beautiful game. But just to wrap up our Formula One report, let's look at the drivers' standings. Lewis Hamilton still is sitting atop on 205 points. He's followed by Valtteri Bottas, his teammate, on 161. In third place, Max Verstappen, he's of Red Bull, sitting on 128. McLaren's Lando Norris is in fourth on 65 points, and Alex Albon of Red Bull is on 64. I didn't mention the Ferraris because they are in 7th, Charles Leclerc, and in 13th, Sebastian Vettel. Now, the constructors' standings, predictably, Mercedes out in front, Red Bull Racing in 2nd, McLaren in 3rd, and then Racing Point in 4th. In 5th is Renault. The next Grand Prix is the German Grand Prix at one of my favorite circuits, the Nürburgring. That's on Sunday.
Z.
Right, let's continue to give you the good news out of Zimoko. Did you know that we also offer rubberizing of pickup load trays for all makes and models of pickups, and our pricing is very competitive. We also offer minor touch-ups, regassing of air conditioning units, windscreen fitments, as well as headlamp cleaning to ensure your journey on the road at night and during the rainy season is safe. Now, don't forget, we also work closely with the insurance company. So in the unfortunate event that you have an accident for whichever vehicle brand that you drive, make or model, please make sure you ask for a repair quotation from Zimoko for your vehicle. And finally, we also offer a 24-hour vehicle breakdown recovery service. So please check out our website, zimoko.co.zw. That website again, zimoko.co.zw for more information.
Join us every Saturday morning this October at our Zimoko showroom at Sam Levy's Village in Border from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. and enjoy complimentary, refreshing Zimbarista summer beverages and coffees, and test drive our Haval range, including the trendy new Haval H2 facelift, as featured on our social media platforms, as well as the Mitsubishi Pajero Sport, which is currently on special offer at an unbeatable price. We look forward to welcoming you this Saturday so you can check out our exciting products for yourself. From Mercedes-Benz to Haval, we have a vehicle to suit every lifestyle and budget. Please remember to wear your mask.
The Formula One Report is proudly brought to you by Zimoko, the home of F1 brands Mercedes-Benz and Alfa Romeo in Zimbabwe. Zimoko, specialized service for special brands.
Hi, this is Benjamin Locke. I'm on the Zimbabwe Davis Cup team, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Only DSTV brings you the very best football action. Catch all the action from the most popular league in the world, the English Premier League, with some of the world's biggest stars in Sadio Mane, Harry Kane, Sergio Aguero, and Virgil van Dijk.
Oh, they did it! I cannot believe it!
Catch all the action on the brand new Super Sport Premier League channel on channel 223.
Oh, wow!
We have the world's best football, only on DSTV.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
Around the World in 60 is proudly brought to you by DSTV. We take off in France, where Petra Kvitova established herself as a leading contender for the French Open title after defeating China's Zhang Shuai to reach the quarterfinals. Two-time Wimbledon champion Kvitova was rarely troubled by the world number 39, aside from being broken when she was served for the match at 5-2 in the second set, but eventually sealed a 6-2, 6-4 victory. On the men's side, Novak Djokovic reached his 11th consecutive quarterfinal with straight sets. That was 6-4, 6-3, 6-3 against Russian 15th seed Karen Khachanov. We head over to Dubai, where Kagiso Rabada took 4 for 24 as the Delhi Capitals moved top of the IPL table with a 59-run thrashing of Royal Challengers Bangalore. The Capitals dominated in Dubai with Prithvi Shaw and Shikhar Dhawan setting the tone with an opening stand of 68 before Marcus Stoinis blistering 53 from 26 balls helped them up to 196 for 4. RCB soon found themselves in trouble in the chase with Devdutt Padikkal and Aaron Finch and AB de Villiers all dismissed in the power play, and once Rabada removed Virat Kohli, it was little more than a procession for Delhi. We'll touch down in the United States, where Miami Heat forward Bam Adebayo could be back in the lineup for Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Adebayo was upgraded to questionable on the official injury report released early this morning. Adebayo last played for the team in Game 1 when he left in the third quarter with a neck strain. Heat guard Goran Dragic discussed a similar situation after he missed Games 2 and 3 due to his injury. He remains doubtful to face the Lakers in Game 4 in the early hours of tomorrow morning.
Hi, I'm Clemens Matau, chicken in midfielder. You're listening to ZiFM Sport.
The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport. All the rivalry.
Here is Harry Kane for Tottenham. Oh, what a goal! A classic derby goal from Harry Kane. Catch him if you can.
All the stars.
Oh, back here's Liverpool 2 in front. Talk about impudent. Talk about improvisation. Talk about Sadio Mane.
And all the game-changing moments.
And Raheem Sterling rattles it home. And once more, City are in front in a trice.
All the updates from the Premier League on ZiFM Sport.
All right, we start our roundup of the beautiful game by wrapping up transfer deadline day 4. Yeah, now Arsenal signed Thomas Partey from Atletico Madrid on deadline day after meeting his £45 million release clause. Partey signed a long-term deal at the Emirates after he completed his medical and paperwork just before Monday's midnight deadline. He will wear the number 18 shirt and will join up with his new teammates next week after he returns from international duty with Ghana. Now, football pundit Stuart Robson, he reckons that Thomas Partey can play anywhere in Arsenal's midfield.
Arsenal, without Partey, could get into the top 4, but with him, they're a much better midfield. That was one area that I was still worried about. El Neni coming back out the cold, coming into the side. I'm not sure he gives them quite enough. Xhaka is always going to make a mistake and be ill-disciplined times. And Ceballos, I don't think is particularly good defensively. Yeah. But with Partey coming in, I don't think he always played in his best position for Atletico Madrid. He often played on the wide left of a very narrow midfield 4. But in that central midfield position, he can do every job he wants from midfield play. He's dynamic enough to win the ball back. He's dynamic enough with his passing, and he'll run forward as well. So a good signing for Arsenal.
Bunja, this piece to the Arsenal puzzle is an absolutely good one. We always talk about somebody who can control the game, and Thomas Partey can certainly control the game for Arsenal, can't he?
Yes, when I heard about it, then I was like, okay, now this is actually what I'm talking about. I was talking about Dani Ceballos the other day, and here is a player that I can actually already visualize playing with Ceballos in the Arsenal midfield. You know, when I looked at the Arsenal midfield, I saw Dani Ceballos was all by himself, and now he has got Partey. You can only admire the Arsenal midfield right now. That, you know what, once they start gelling, once Partey start playing, and with the kind of midfield that I saw last weekend, I think that they've made the right buy, and Arsenal are just going to be going on the up, and we're up for a good time at Arsenal as well, because they're playing good football. Going forward, they're playing good football, and now they have showed up their midfield, which is actually quite a good thing.
Mike, would you say that this is a purchase that sort of, there are purchases that move you forward exponentially and ones that sort of give you a marginal increase? Where would you place this Thomas Partey signing for Arsenal?
I don't think we are at the exponential phase yet, but this is a signing that gets you there. You go back to the initial business that was done by Jurgen Klopp to bring in Mohamed Salah, to bring in Sadio Mane. This is that type of signing. This is a signing that makes Arsenal very competitive, even in the big games. This is a signing that galvanizes the fan base and gets everyone believing again. They will obviously now be in a position within the next 2 transfer windows where they can now go for the 2 or 3 signings that can see them having a title tilt. So right now, I think this signing almost guarantees Arsenal a top 4 finish, because I take a look at Arsenal right now, I'm having to revise my top 4 predictions. I think I'd initially gone with both Manchester clubs in the top 4 together with Liverpool, but I'm now thinking to myself, you know what, with Arsenal having done this sort of business with Mourinho rediscovering his mojo once again, I think it may well be North London together with Man City and Liverpool in the top 4, the way things are looking. Frank Lampard is going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat with that squad that he's got and with these tactics, if he is to get the better of the other 2 London clubs, because those clubs are looking good, and Arsenal can only get better with Partey. We've always talked about Arsenal having a soft centre. Partey is tough. He protects the centre-backs, and he can also pick a pass, and he also scores goals. That's the other thing that people don't talk about. There's been huge excitement around Arsenal, where Chris, they've been getting results when they need them. They've been playing some nice stuff from time to time. And Thomas Partey, as Mike is pointing out, getting that screen in front of that back 4 might actually release them to play even more entertaining football. Shrewd move by Mikel Arteta.
Definitely a shrewd move by Mikel Arteta. I think he's been very strategic about the purchases that he makes and the positions that he really needs filled initially. And this was one of the issues for them. He's managed to get this hole, as it were, closed up. And I think Arsenal going forward is going to be an incredible team to watch. They're going to be letting through much less goals, much less opportunities to get past them now. And yeah, Arsenal's looking damn good.
Arsenal looking very good. Let's give you some of the notable deadline day deals in the Premier League. You had Edinson Cavani moved to Manchester United on a free. Alex Telles signed for United from Porto on a £15.4 million move. Amad Diallo joined United from Atalanta. He will only join the club in January, though. That deal was worth £37.2 million. I've got to get the thoughts of Alois Bunjira. What are your thoughts on the movements, the comings and goings at Manchester United? Because we've got to talk about the fact that Chris Smalling finally getting his move that he wanted out of United over to Roma.
Now, these moves don't do anything to help Manchester United, to be honest. I don't think so. Yes, Cavani will come in and score 1 or 2 goals. He is maybe the positive addition that I can say, he can actually still score. I'm not sure. He hasn't been playing for a long time now, so I don't know about his form. But judging from where he was before, he can score. But the rest of the signings, I don't know what they are all about, because they are not solving the problems at Manchester United. So I don't really know what is happening. They're just trying to be active. But yeah, they are being active. But active for what? I don't know.
Yeah, it smacks a little bit of desperation, doesn't it, Mike? Because I excluded the transfer of Facundo Pellistri from Club Atletico Penarol, who has also joined Man United. On deadline day, 4 moves. My goodness, that's a hell of a lot.
Yeah, I think the one that they went after, Jadon Sancho, and I think we chided Man United fans, and told them that it was never going to happen. They should have believed us. And here they are, sitting now on the day after transfer deadline day without Jadon Sancho. And I honestly believe that Jadon Sancho will not play for Manchester United, because they're going to be clubs in a better position. They're going to come in for his signature at the end of this season. So had the opportunity to pay what Borussia Dortmund wanted and get him, and they chose not to. I think they were trying to play poker with BVB. Yeah. You know what, we'll have a stare down and then see who blinks first. BVB didn't blink first, and so United was left with egg on their face. So these signings, it looks like they were now just trying to do some business just to appease a very restless fan base. I also have to ask the question about Edinson Cavani. Very good player, but that's a stopgap measure. It's like what they did with Zlatan Ibrahimovic, or what they did with the Henrik Larsson several years back. He's a guy who's coming in for a year or two. And then you also have to ask the question, what does it do for the progress of Greenwood? Does it mean that Greenwood will be on the bench?
Good question.
How much game time is he going to get with Cavani?
And we also got Igalo.
Yeah, and Igalo's still there on loan. You're quite right, Alois. Appeased the United fans. Chris, very quickly, are you appeased?
Absolutely not. Again, signing players is not what's going to fix things at Manchester United. All of these little moves are just illustrative of a bigger problem, if you ask me.
A bigger problem that needs to be solved. Let's wrap it up for you in England. Theo Walcott, Everton to Southampton. He's gone on loan. Robin Olsen has gone from Roma to Everton. He's joining Everton on loan. And Ruben Loftus-Cheek has moved to Fulham from Chelsea on loan. In the rest of Europe, Chris Smalling, like we said earlier, has got his move finally permanently, moving to Roma from Manchester United. The deal valued at about £18 million. Temui Bakayoko, he's moved from Chelsea to Napoli on loan. Lucas Torreira, of course, he was involved in that Partey deal, so Arsenal had to let him go the other way. He's joined Atletico Madrid on loan. Matteo Guendouzi out of Arsenal again. He's gone to Hertha Berlin, another loan move. Ryan Sessegnon is an interesting one. He's moved from Tottenham and he's gone to Hoffenheim in Germany on loan. He wasn't getting game time with Tottenham and decided he wanted game time, and he's going to get that in Germany. Davy Klaassen, Werder Bremen to Ajax. That move costing €14 million. Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting has moved from Paris Saint-Germain to the giants of German football, Bayern Munich, as has Douglas Costa, joining Bayern Munich from Juventus, but that is a loan move. So that's the business that was done on deadline day. Eric Garcia not going to Barcelona from Manchester City. He stays for a little while yet.
Neymar, Mbappé, Depay, and now Tino Kadewere enjoys a taste of the French football on ZiFM Sport.
Always a heavy French flavor on our Tuesday edition of ZiFM Sport, and this evening it's no different. News out of France: PSG sporting director Leonardo is hit out at his manager Thomas Tuchel, saying he did not appreciate his recent statements urging club management to make signings. And Chris is taken this as a direct affront to his efforts. When they talk about club management, they are talking about the sporting director Leonardo, the man who is responsible for bringing in the new talent and making the new signings. The manager is not happy. There seems to be a bit of a rift there.
There definitely seems to be a bit of a rift, which is interesting considering that their relationship started quite cordially. They did a good cop, bad cop situation when it came to signing Neymar from Barcelona. They were working well together. But I think when you make public statements about the person who's responsible for signing players and getting you new talent, and you make a statement that that's not being done and that it needs to be done, I think it's almost it's poking the bear, and I'm not surprised that Leonardo is not happy with these sentiments. And once that rift starts, it's not good for the club.
Barry, Thomas Tuchel, is there an argument for him? One could say, you know what, I understand where Thomas Tuchel is coming from, because PSG is a club that's been built pretty much like Chelsea when Abramovich joined the London side. It's been built on making marquee signings season after season after season. Chris mentioned that, you know what, their relationship started off cordially. That's because they were brought together with the world record move of Neymar from Barcelona. There haven't been many marquee signings over the last 18 months in Paris. And Thomas Tuchel is thinking, you know what, make my job easier, guys.
Yeah, and make my job easier for the one trophy that you want, and that is the Champions League. Because I don't think that there is need necessarily to strengthen heavily for Ligue 1. So it's about the Champions League, and Thomas Tuchel is basically professing to say, guys, if you don't sign players, don't expect the Champions League.
Well, there are a couple of Zimbabwe players, internationals, playing out in France, and we'll give you an update on how they are faring. Chinotenda Kadewere, he made his second start for Lyon in the 1-0 draw with Marseille, and Marshall Munetsi returned to action from a suspension and took part in Stade Reims' 2-2 draw with Reims. In fact, he played all 90 minutes in that game. It would ordinarily be good news for the Warriors, but he is likely not to come for the friendly versus Malawi.
The league that makes football oh so beautiful, where artistry and strokes of genius are the order of any day, where the game is played with a smile and the little master creates his magic.
It's Lionel Messi!
All the news from the Spanish La Liga on ZiFM Sport.
The goal the world wants it!
Heading into La Liga now, Didier Deschamps has claimed that Antoine Griezmann has already been left unsettled playing under Ronald Koeman at Barcelona after being forced out wide in the attack. So the France international featured on the right side of Barca's 1-1 draw with Sevilla on Sunday, and then Philippe Coutinho and Ansu Fati were in supporting roles behind Lionel Messi. Alois, taking a look at this, should he be left out wide in terms of where he's playing at the moment? Didier Deschamps is expressing his concern at seeing Antoine Griezmann not necessarily as effective as he usually is. Should he be left out wide?
There's an issue of a player playing in a star-studded team, and when you are playing in a star-studded team, I think sometimes you gotta be grateful that you're actually getting a sniff in. You're actually playing, being played wide. You have to improvise as a professional and play where the coach wants you to play. Maybe a strategic plan by the coach. He wants him to cut inside and take a shot. Lionel Messi was playing wide as well. How many times have we seen Lionel Messi playing wide, but he's now playing central? I don't know. I think that a player should actually accept where he's playing, but I understand where Deschamps is coming from, because he is the French international coach and he wants his player to play in his regular position. He has been playing there, scoring goals for Atletico Madrid playing from the center. So he is thinking, you know what, my plan is to be playing from the center and scoring goals. He doesn't feel good about playing wide. So I think that's why he's complaining. But I think that a player should actually improvise, and Didier Deschamps should actually understand that.
And Mike, you take a look at Ronald Koeman's use of Griezmann at the moment. There's going to be quite a lot of these shifts, as it were, in terms of the players, what they're used to, and changes of Barcelona. Surely Griezmann simply needs adjustment time more than Deschamps needs to worry about the fact that he is being used in a different position.
He's had too long to adjust, Chris. He's been in Catalonia for 18 months now. I think he's a player who just doesn't fit the Barcelona mold. Barcelona has always had a very fluid attacking system. Players who are able to shift from the middle, go wide left, switch to the right. The story mentioned that Lionel Messi was playing up top. Lionel Messi was not playing through the middle. Lionel Messi was actually playing as a number 10. He was actually deep in midfield. So you've got to have that fluidity. And Griezmann sometimes is a bit of a one-trick pony. He can't play wide. He doesn't have, I think, the pace and the trickery that's needed to play out wide. So it's a very difficult fit for him, and I see going forward, he may be one of the attackers to actually miss out from a regular starting position for Barcelona if they decide to try some of the exciting youngsters that are coming out of La Masia, because it's just not working.
The Nerazzurri, the Black and Blues, Inter Milan.
It's Romelu Lukaku, and it was never in doubt. He's a beast at the best of times, but this season he has become a monster.
The Giallorossi, the Yellow and Reds, AS Roma.
Velotti has a go! Tremendous hits! That's what he's capable of.
La Viola, the Purple Ones, Fiorentina.
Franck Ribéry seals a glorious win for Fiorentina with a sumptuous goal at San Siro.
The Bianconeri, the Black and Whites, Juventus.
Ronaldo seals yet another 3 points for Juventus.
Tough yet colourful. The best of Italian football on Z.
Let's wrap it up with news out of Italy, where Stefano Pioli is glad to be top of the Serie A table with Milan, but warns he is well aware of the problems we will encounter going forward. Now, that's a direct quote from him. And in truth, this is where the Rossoneri should be, Alois. They should be top of the table. They should be competing for honours. And it's a good thing to see the resurgence of AC Milan coming.
Yes, Barry, I think it's very good to see the resurgence of AC Milan, because they are the traditional giants of Italian football, along with Inter Milan and Juve. So I think it's actually quite good. I'm an AC Milan fan myself, so it's actually quite good for me to see them doing well. And for Italian football as well, once AC Milan is doing well, Italian football is also bright, and when you have a lot more contenders in the championship, it looks good. Inter Milan, AC Milan, Juve, Napoli fighting for the championship. I think it looks good for Italian football. Atlanta also coming into the fray. That's quite good. I've always been an advocate for competition, and this is actually as well good for me that AC Milan is entering the fray and challenging for the championship as well.
I totally agree with Alois there, Barry. AC Milan, if we have to take a look at sides that have defined epochs in European football, you've got to talk about AC Milan in the early 90s. They were the benchmark of how football would be played for the next decade. Barcelona, again, another side that defined how football would be played. Arsenal, under Arsene Wenger as well, defined how football would be played in England. So it's a good side to have. Even European football needs AC Milan back playing in the UEFA Champions League.
7 European trophies they have, and so they are one of the aristocracy of European, never mind Italian football. To see them at the top of the table is certainly a very good thing. We've got to go. We'll be back tomorrow for Wacky Wednesday, so don't miss out on that. Tell somebody. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manandi, out.
And it's Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
The biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.